Keep telling you guys the color is really green. Did you actually think I didn't also mean race? I mean everything is green. So, what if I told you there were black and white slaves? Enslaved people. They didn't call them both slaves, but that was the reality. Quick history lesson. The world's about 5 billion years old. Organism life, about 4 billion years old. Okay. Human life as we know it, between a couple hundred million years old down about 90,000, 60,000 years old, where people, have cognitive ability and all that kind of stuff. Of course, emerged on the African continent. That's a whole other story. But somehow the word white, as it relates to race, was created in the 1600s. Really? Then what all the hubbub about race? Because it was a political expedient moment driven by economics and economic necessity and power, because blacks and whites were here as indentured servants to economic interests. And unfortunately for the economic interest holders, blacks and whites, the indentured servants, were getting along. They were like chilling together. They were becoming friends. And they ran away together. They're like, we're leaving this job. We're not getting paid. We don't like the terms. We don't like the boss. They're not nice to us. We're out of here. And they bounced together. In fact, there's a whole other thing where they did more than bounce together. The Bacon's Rebellion. That's a whole other story. It's later in the 1600s. But this simple story, they were friends. They got along. They had the same interests, the same challenges, the same problems. They were not being paid. They were being mistreated, abused, and they wanted out. So they left. And when they were caught, because they were valuable, the report back to the owners, the plantation owners, the colony organizers were, you got a problem. We can have a race riot. We cannot have a class riot because we're the class. And so we can't have white folks and black folks getting along. So they gave the white indentured servants 2 more years of indentured servitude, work these 2 years, and by the way, come over here. And you blacks, you're now working for life because you ran away. That's the first differentiator. Then they turn to the poor whites, uneducated, unexposed, poor whites, and they say, look, you're white like us. You're in charge of them. And by the way, you earn enough, we'll let you buy one of them. And that created the division that started the decision and the stupidity that we now know today of poor whites and poor blacks actually being at each other's throats. And then they just let the wealthy walk away with the prize. I'm not anti-wealthy. I love wealth. I love good capitalism. I think bad capitalism is bad. And slavery was bad capitalism. But it was against all poor people, right? And all people who, well, that's another story. Let's keep this real brief. So that's where slavery began, of black people, and that as ruled by poor white people who didn't say, hey, am I to the wealthy? Am I wealthy like you? Do I have plantations and property like you? Do I have titles like you? They never asked those questions, critical thinking. They just said, oh, I'm white like you. Okay. And that little ruse has lasted for 400 years of us being at each other's throats. Aren't we tired of this? Aren't we sick and tired of being sick and tired? My poor white friends, more poor whites in America than poor anybody else, who, by the way, got left 60 years ago at the Industrial Revolution, and no one came to save them. No one came to give them a skill, and they're angry, and they think they're angry at us. They're not. They're angry because the ladder's broken, and the ladder's broken for us too. And a poor white community with a 500 credit score looks the exact same as a poor black community with a 500 credit score. Check cashers, payday loan lenders, rent-to-own stores, title lenders, you get it. Let's come together on some green and rise up on a ladder for all of us. Go to Operation Hope today. Love and light.